As you know, on this channel we sometimes discuss different topics. Sometimes I'll do a hardcore technical breakdown of a boxing match. Sometimes we'll do a business and boxing conversation. Sometimes we'll discuss rumours. Sometimes we'll discuss the politics of the sport. If you're purely interested in any of those subjects, I would suggest you turn off this video now, because you're going to be disappointed. The following is a real life event that's happened in my life that is probably going to be more a source of comedy for people who are viewing rather than a serious piece of boxing discussing. But nevertheless, it's something that I want to hear some opinions on and get some advice on. About 2 years ago now, I used to go to a gym in a local town. I've stopped going there now. Now that gym, it was not a boxing specific gym. However, it was an independent gym. It wasn't one of the sort of chain gyms. So it's an independent gym, quite a heavy sort of MMA boxing population. Although, as I say, the sort of average person there is probably the person trying to lose weight, the person trying to pump iron, that sort of stuff. But it's got a few bags hanging from the ceiling. You know the score. Anyway. Now there's a personal trainer at this gym. He's kind of got a classic personal trainer look. He's in his early 30s, quite well muscled, looks like quite an athletic guy. And I had a sort of borderline friendship relationship with this guy, probably from about 3 years ago through to about 2 years ago. And one day I was talking to him and I said, the thing I have about personal training, my issue with personal training, is that in my mind 80% of people who use personal trainers are using that personal trainer to lose weight. 80% of them in my mind. Now I think the difficulty personal trainers have is the most effective way of losing, sorry I'm just flashing my belly to the camera, the most effective way of losing weight in my opinion is for that personal trainer to take their overweight client and quite simply to get them on a treadmill. In my view, if you're carrying 3 or 4 stone of extra fat on you, there is no more effective way of losing weight than walking, jogging, running, that kind of movement. Unfortunately, because personal trainers have to justify their £40 an hour charge, they seem to come up with more and more elaborate methods of justifying their existence and justifying their hourly rate. I mean, I guess it comes to the point where they realise they're not going to get repeat business at 40 quid an hour if they just stick someone up in a treadmill. So I watched this guy from a distance and I watched him, with loads of overweight clients, using pairs of dumbbells, climbing up on a step, all of this nonsense. And, that's all well and good. I'm sure there's some benefit to, curling a 2k dumbbell like this. But the truth in my mind is that if you're genuinely overweight, and if you're genuinely only in it to lose weight, you'd be better off forgetting about doing a 2k bicep curl, forgetting about stepping up and down onto a box, and actually going for a little bit of a jog. So one day, when I was chatting to this bloke, I raised this concern I had. I said, the thing is, I don't have an issue with what you do. I understand why people use you, because they need someone to motivate them, etc. But isn't it fundamentally a bit dishonest? You're charging these people 40 quid an hour when you could, in effect, be providing a much more suitable weight loss option just by using a treadmill. Now, to my surprise, he actually agreed with me. And we started discussing other methods of cardiovascular training that would be entertaining for clients, that would make them want to come back, which would make them happy to pay £40 an hour. Now, as you know, if you watch this channel, I'm a boxing nut. So I suggested boxing. And this guy got himself down Sports Direct. He bought himself a pair of boxing gloves. He bought himself, the hand mitts, probably dropped about 20 quid on it. And hey presto, what he had was an entertaining cardiovascular workout. You'd see these massively overweight clients walking around the gym with him there, hitting the pads. And I genuinely thought it was a positive step forward because they're doing a sort of heavy cardiovascular activity. I mean, anyone who's ever hit a bag knows that it's a very physically draining activity. And I would imagine that for someone looking to lose weight, it's actually a far more effective method of losing weight, as opposed to picking up a pair of dumbbells and doing these bizarre, nonsense moves he was doing before. Anyway, I digress. Cut a long story short, I was training at this gym for about a year, and I had a vague relationship with this guy, very sort of quite friendly, a bit distant. But as I say, I think he was 32, 33. But at some point during this year, he seemed to have a complete and utter midlife crisis. I understand what happened, and he was, he wasn't my cup of tea, but he was a fairly attractive bloke, I guess you could say, and for whatever reason, his long-term girlfriend broke up with him, and he seemed to go completely off the rails. So he had this kind of clean-cut, athletic personal trainer look. But what he did is he grew out this massive beard, the kind of hipster beard, but like a Gandalf beard that came down to here. He started getting his ears pierced, but multiple piercings in his ear. And he started getting these massive tattoos. I remember, because he used to walk around in vests all the time, because he's a personal trainer. He got like a sort of big motorcycle all down his arm and all down his bicep. It was absolutely crazy how quick his life changed. He broke up with his girlfriend, and next thing I knew, he was behaving really, really strangely, and he started. We lived in quite a small town back in the day, so you kind of got to know people. And he was driving up and down the high street on his Harley Davidson he bought. It was so odd. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we both left the gym, but we left the gym for different reasons. I left it because I was relocating and wanted to gym somewhere more local. Bizarrely, as part of this midlife crisis, he decided to get into boxing. Funnily enough, this is why I'm asking for a bit of advice, because I have a level of personal guilt. Because I believe if I had never suggested him buying that pair of boxing gloves and him buying this pair of boxing mitts, the situation that we are in today may well not have happened. Now, to carry on, this guy started to get obsessed by boxing. And look, when I was initially speaking to him, I was throwing out names of fighters. And, he knew his stuff to an extent. He knew who Mike Tyson was. He knew who Vladimir Klitschko was. But, if you threw out a Derek Chisora, or if you threw out a Tony Thompson, he'd look blank at you. He kind of very, very casual. But he became obsessed about boxing over the period of about 6 to 8 weeks as he was going through this midlife crisis sort of thing. And, he started trying to pass himself off as a boxing expert over the course of this 6-week period. So it was incredibly bizarre. I was walking through the gym and, we were standing there with a woman who was, she's massively overweight. And he was holding the bag to her and he's like, double jab, like, left hook. And, technically this guy was appalling. I saw him working the bag and he'd throw combinations of hooks and it would be like this. And, he's like telling his client, I'm going to teach you the next punch, the uppercut. And he'd, like a sort of really exaggerated uppercut where you kind of take a little dip and twist into it. He was like throwing an uppercut, but throwing it so much he was kind of turning and knocking himself off balance whenever he threw it. The guy was technically appalling. He knew what a jab was, he knew what a hook was, but he'd clearly never boxed before in his life. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I left the gym because of relocation. I kind of kept in touch with him vaguely via social media, and he left to go to like hardcore boxing training because in his now early to mid 30s he decided it was the route he wanted to go down. And this guy was telling me like the improvements he's made is massive. He's this was 2 years ago, so he must now be 34 years old. But he really thinks that there's a chance for him to still go pro and still have a shot at doing something in the sport. And it was quite surprising to me. Like, and I've seen him round and about. I don't live too far away. I still know people in that town, so I go back there relatively regularly. And I've seen him round and about, and he's in good nick. But honestly, I've been discussing it with him because what he's doing now, and this is where the story's leading to, is he's starting white collar boxing. Now, the guy's about 15 stone. He's about 6 foot, 15 stone. So he's a powerful guy. but he's trying to put on weight to box. And I'm telling him, like, this is a terrible, terrible mistake. Do not put on weight to box. Like, what you want to be doing is cutting weight so you can fight in a lower weight class against a smaller man. But he's convinced if he puts on extra weight, he's going to be more and more powerful, and he's going to be able to hurt an opponent and get them out of that. So anyway, cut a long story short, he's got a white collar fight in the diary, a few weeks down the line. So, yesterday, I'm going about my daily business, and I get a phone call, and I've got his number saved on my phone from ages ago. I thought, how bizarre is this? So I pick up the phone, and he knows that, like, look, if you watch my channel, you know that I don't box. I'm not a boxer. I've done a little bit in the past. Certainly never had a pro fight or anything even resembling that. So I'm rank average at best. But he said, he rings me up. He said, look, he's got this white collar fight in the diary. He's finding it really, really difficult to get people to spar with him. Would I go and do a few rounds with him? So I've actually gone and done a few rounds with him after work today, and I'm very, very concerned about what happened during those few rounds, because I'm not a boxer. Let me describe the physical difference first, okay? So for those of you who don't know, I have a not dissimilar build to Callum Smith. I'm not in the, don't get me wrong, I'm not in a sort of ripped out six-pack physical condition as Callum Smith, but I'm 6'4", and I walk around at low 170s. If I was a pro boxer, I would probably fight at super middle. This guy is a heavyweight, I guess you could say. So he's shorter than me. So anyway, I remembered him as being technically appalling. I remember him just being so open and his punches. But he's been training hard for like 2 years, and he's obviously taking it very seriously. So when I got the call, I was very, very nervous indeed. I thought I'd do it. I thought I'd take the fight. I wanted to take the sparring rounds even, because I wanted to help a mate out. I thought it might be a good bit of training for myself. So I thought I'll go along. I thought I'll do a few rounds with this chap, see how I get along. But really, I was not looking forward to it, because I thought I was going to get a bit of a pace thing. Much bigger man, very active, personal trainer. So I was not looking forward to it. I haven't done any boxing for a very, very long time. Disclaimer: I do a lot of long distance running, so I am kind of physically capable. I've got a good set of lungs, I guess you could say. But even when I did do boxing before, disclaimer would be that I'm a very, very light puncher. I guess the kind of boxer I'd almost, don't get me wrong, I'm nowhere near this capability, but the kind of person I'd like to compare myself to is a Billy Joe Saunders style fighter. Like southpaw, light punching, quite defensively minded, tries to move. So that's what I did with this guy, and we were sort of dancing around a bit, going real light, and then towards the end, we just kind of did it. It was more like a fitness thing, but anyway, we decided to do like 1 or 2 proper rounds at the end. And he was like, he's got a big fight coming up. It's his first fight. He's going to be hit harder than he's ever been hit. He said that I shouldn't hold back. And I said, okay, but you're going to have to hold back with me, because, I don't box and I'm much, much smaller than you. So if you could please refrain from taking my head off, that would be ideal. But anyway, we go out and we decide to do these 1 or 2 proper full contact rounds. And this guy, honestly, he just didn't know what a jab was. He's still. I remember watching him 2 years ago, standing in front of a punch bag, going boom, 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 boom. Like a robot. He was still coming forward like that. It was. It's really, really worrying. And what happened next? And honestly, this is not a video to blow my own trumpet. I am a very light puncher. Noticeably light. So what I did, as I say, I was fighting southpaw. I threw a double jab to his head, but I threw it kind of to land on his hands. I kind of tapped him double jab to his head. And then what I did straight away is I threw another double jab, a little tap to his hands, and then full power to his stomach. So that's all I did. I threw double jab to his hands, then jab to his hand, jab to his stomach. But the jab to his stomach, I threw it as hard as I could. And I dropped this guy badly, badly. It was like it wasn't like I took the wind out of him. Like I dropped him badly. And what happened next was slightly bizarre because it took him a while to get back up, and he's like, "Mate, do me a favour. I need to get some more rounds under my belt. But firstly, would you mind not fighting southpaw? Because I really don't like fighting against southpaws. And secondly, if it's all right with you, would you mind not punching to the body? Because the defence I've been working on is more defence to the head and not defence to the body." It gets worse, I'm afraid, because then, after we've done a few rounds, he goes, and I proper step off the gas, because I did not think I was going to hurt this guy at all. Maybe I just caught him right, but, this guy's poor, and he's fighting at heavyweight. Anyway, the unbelievable has happened, and at the end of our time, he said, "Look, I've really appreciated the work you've helped me with today. Would you like to corner for me?" And anyway, long story short, I've been talked in to cornering for this guy in a heavyweight boxing fight with an experienced heavyweight boxer in the opposition. I just don't know what to do. Like, I've tried to talk him out of it. Like, he's convinced. He honestly thinks, he's 34 years old, I guess. He might even be 35. But he's between 33 and 35, shall we say. He honestly thinks, he honestly seems to think he's got a future in the sport. I'm genuinely concerned over it. Like, it's not my responsibility. I appreciate, he's, I don't know, a lot older than me, and, he's a man, he can make his own decisions. But we got a guy here who first picked up a pair of gloves on my advice. We've got a guy here who I've kind of been talked into cornering for. I just think he could get seriously, seriously hurt. Because trust me, if you're getting dropped by me to a jab to the body, it's not going to be pretty if some sort of heavyweight guy, you know the rest. Anyway, he doesn't know I've got this YouTube channel. I guess the YouTube channel is still small enough that I can post something like this in relative anonymity. But any suggestions, any advice, I'm going to be doing a bit of training with him for the next 5-6 weeks. Look, if you're taking boxing training advice from me, you're starting off on the wrong foot. So, but if anyone's got any suggestions or ideas whatsoever, let me know. If not, then at the very least, I hope you've enjoyed the story. Let me know if you'd be interested in a follow-up vid to what actually happens when it goes down. Thanks for watching.